Well, two Ottawa natives have released a book with illustrations aimed at young people, predominantly in the 6 to 12 age group. It's called Little Voice, and it comes with a message and inspiration for those who may be going through a tough time. Amanda Bernardo is a Carleton grad who has long had an affinity for books, and Samantha Clusiau is a graphic designer who graduated from La Cité Collégiale. And to find out more about their first book and the message it sends, I'm pleased to be joined this morning by Amanda and Samantha. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Well, I'm glad.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Now, Amanda, what inspired you to write this book?
I guess you could say, so the book essentially was written about a year ago, and at that time, I guess you can say I was struggling with my own little voice. So little voice essentially can equate to your inner voice, so that voice inside that tells you to, chase your dreams or go on adventures, believe in yourself, set goals, whatever it may be. And as you mentioned, I've always had this dream of writing something, and I guess for the longest time, my little voice was telling me, what are you doing? Wake up, write something. So a year ago, I started finally listening to that little voice, and I said, you know what, it's time to sit down and actually pursue this dream of mine. And I had been volunteering with some local schools and reading to children there. And when I was reading to them, I realized, they're struggling with the same struggle that I had been struggling with. They were looking for inspiration. They were looking for support. They were looking for an outlet that could tell them they can be creative or be proud of who they are. And so that's what led me to write Little Voice, which is essentially a poem that kind of delivers that type of message for children between 6 and 12. But also it can apply to adults or anyone just needing a little bit of inspiration, because it's certainly after the end of the process it inspired me.
Now, Samantha, have you ever illustrated a book before?
Never an entire book. We did obviously college projects, and I've been drawing all my life just for fun, but Amanda really fulfilled my dream by letting me illustrate the entire book from scratch. So it's been really fulfilling.
And I kind of wonder how it would be different illustrating for a children's book as opposed to something else.
Yeah, you can definitely play around and be more whimsical with the style when it comes to kids, because anything that'll get their imagination flowing is a positive thing.
Now, Amanda, we talked a bit about the message. Is this book about the message, or is it about learning to read, or is it about both?
So essentially, it's actually about the message. So our book, actually, we have 6 characters in the book, but they're actually nameless characters, so they don't have a name, and there isn't necessarily a plot. It's more of a poem that just goes on this whole message of encouragement, inspiration, perseverance, and motivation. It is a simple rhyme and meter. We do hope it's easier for children to read with, and some of the feedback we've received so far from people is that, their kids are enjoying it, and it's simple enough, and the graphics go so well with the text that it is encouraging them to read. So I think that was kind of an added bonus in the style that we wrote it, that it is simple enough to be used as a starting step to encourage kids to read as well.
You have a book with a message, but you don't have names for characters or a plot.
Yes. It's different. So it's a rhyme and meter based style book. It's a poem. So the whole book is one entire poem that's essentially trying to encourage kids to really focus on the message. And that's why we kind of removed any character names. It's only about the message. That's the focal point. And by doing that, it can be relatable to anyone. So it can be relatable to a young girl or a young boy or an adult, man or woman, whatever background you're coming from, whatever situation you're facing. It's so relatable that it can play into different situations.
What kind of research did you do before you started writing?
A lot of research. So to publish, we've actually self-published Little Voice, and it's a lot of work, and I don't think a lot of people realize how much work actually goes into it. I think it's safe to say, speaking for myself and Samantha, Little Voice has been our life for an entire year. Research just included kind of reading what was out there and seeing, for my own opinion, what was missing. And for me, what I found was this inspirational or moral story that was trying to encourage kids, I couldn't really see that in the text, and I wanted to see why. Why can't I find this? What can I do to change it? And then learning about the publishing process, how to go to printing your book, to working with an illustrator, et cetera. There was a lot of things to consider for sure.
And I was going to say, in terms of self-publishing, it's not an easy ride, is it?
No, it's not. But thankfully, I've had a great partner like Samantha. She's been supportive from day one, and her creativity and imagination really brought Little Voice to life. We're also working with a local printing company here on the Gatineau side. So to keep everything local, not only written, illustrated, but printed in Canada has made the process a lot easier as well.
Tell me, was there somebody or some incident that, or some instance was the inspiration for the message for your book?
I guess, when I try to explain Little Voice to people, I kind of say it started as a cathartic journey for myself because I've, as a child and growing up, have faced so many situations that I hear kids are facing today, and we see it all around us. We see it with bullying and just kids facing different issues of not feeling proud of who they are, or maybe not giving it their all, or feeling discouraged in school, or whatever it may be. And at the time, I was a huge book lover, and I loved reading books, and that always stemmed my imagination. And when I was volunteering and speaking with kids, I noticed that inspiration was starting to diminish. They didn't even want to read. They didn't care for the messages in the books that they were reading. And for myself, at 24 at the time, when I was writing the book, I was struggling with trying to listen to my voice. I was struggling to try to figure out who I was, and it's a constant struggle, whether you're 6 or 24. It's something that you see with everyone. Anyone that will talk to you will tell you about their experiences, and that's why we try to make it so global, our message, and so relatable, because we wanted anyone who read the book to essentially relate to it.
Now, Samantha, what about the message inspired your illustrations?
Well, the illustrations at first didn't come too easily to me, but then I decided not to overthink it and just think of things that are relatable to my own experience when I was once in school. So it revolved around learning and creativity, grades, and chores. So I focused on little scenarios like that were very, very attainable for kids to understand. All
right. Now, Amanda, how can people get Little Voice?
So we're actually having a few events in Ottawa this month. We'll be at a holiday craft show tomorrow in Manotick at Fabio's Cucina Italiana in the Manotick Square from 12:30 to 3:30. We'll also be at Stella Luna Cafe on December 10th, a Wednesday night, from 7 to 9, and Monday, December 15th, from 5 to 7 at Raw Sugar Cafe. Or you can go online to our website. It's www.littlevoicethebook.com, and you can purchase it online as well.
All right. And how much?
The book right now goes for $20.
And are you considering doing more of these books in the future, maybe make this a bit of a series?
Yeah, me and Samantha were actually just discussing this, and we hope to eventually maybe branch off on the 6 kind of columns that each of our characters represent and going in an individual story route for each of those. So in those stories, you'll get the plot and the characters that we might have not given you in the first round.
All right. Well, I want to thank both of you for joining us this morning and wish you all the best with the book, all right?
Thank you so much for having us.
Anytime. There goes Amanda Bernardo